ॐ आप्यायन्तु ममाङ्गानि वाक्प्राणश्चक्षुश्रोत्रमथो बलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्म उपनिषदम् माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्याम् मा मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत् अनिराकरणमस्त्वनिराकरणं मे अस्तु तदात्मनि निरतेय उपनिषत्सु धर्माः ते मयि सन्तु ते मयि सन्तु। ओम शांति शांति शांति। After a long discussion in the Shānkarabhāshya on the place of Ishvara in the scheme of things, we are going to enter now the mantras of section 3. Tritiye khande mantreshu pravesham kurmaha. So what does the third mantra, third section say? The third khanda, as we have referred to before, as a narrative, as a story, which is called Akhyayika. Akhyayika is the word used for a story. The mantras are 12 in number, and we plan to do all the 12 mantras in this session. The third section begins with Brahmaha Devebhyo Vijigye. Brahma here, it has already made clear, refers to Ishvara, not the non-dual Brahman, where there is nothing second to Brahman, but Ishvara. Ishvara also is referred to as Brahma, based on context, where there is Ishvara, the ruler, and there are countless Jivatmas who are the ruled, the ruler and the ruled. Brahma Devebhyo Vijigye. In a war between Devas and Asuras, Brahma, that is Ishvara, let's use the word Ishvara. Ishvara means God. God actually won the war for gods. In the expression gods, G is in lowercase, that refers to Devatas. Many of us were perhaps Devatas before this life. Many of us will be Devatas for some time after this life. So Devata is a certain celestial position that Jivatmas gain or get. Brahma Devebhyo Vijigye is the mantra. Tasyaha Brahmano Vijaye Devaha Amahiyanta. They gained certain Mahatva. Amahiyanta means these gods who gained victory. In the process, or as a result, gained an upper hand. Like if some party wins in elections, next 5 years typically they have an upper hand. They are the ruling party. Who knows? After 5 years they may lose. Then the opposition, which was the opposition, becomes the ruling party. Mahi Amahiyanta. So let's see what Shankara says on this mantra. In fact, there is also the line, Te Aikshanta, they thought, this is our victory and this is our glory. Asmakameva ayam vijayaha, asmakameva ayam mahima. Vijaya, victory, mahima, glory. So let's go to the title slide to begin with, where we say why God appeared before Devas and Asuras. Really, Devas only. In this, there is no Asuras. Asuras ran away. So, why did God appear before the gods? The one God appeared before the countless gods, that is, residents of heaven are also called gods. So, we have culled a few words from the Bhashya in the title slide. Natvacha, the Supreme God, having seen, having noticed that, hey, these gods got it to their head. It went into their heads. Mithya Abhiman. They have a false pride that we are now so great and so on. God doesn't want anybody not to feel great. You see, that point comes up in the Bhashya. If you think you are great, absolutely no problem. But if you think you are great and others are not, or putting other way, if you think the greatness in you is limited to you, it's all yours. The greatness, the glory is yours and will always be yours. That means divinity, which is in all, is mistaken to belong to just a person. I am great and others are not. I will always be great, others always will be below me. That is not acceptable in Advaita Vedanta. Realize your greatness, realize also that that greatness is in everybody. They may not have recognized, they may not have awakened to it. That's a different story, but they are as great as you are. So, Natva cha Mityabhimana Shatanena. That has to be cut, that has to be eliminated, that has to be removed. God thinks we must do something now to make these gods free of that kind of exclusive greatness. All are great, please know that. Tadanujigrikshaya. Everyone here knows the word anugraha. Anugraha means to bestow grace. And anujigraksha is the desire to bestow grace. What we call desiderative in Sanskrit. It is called sannanta, desiderative in English grammar. A word that doesn't indicate an action but indicates the desire to perform that action. So, bhunkte means one eats, but bubuksha is wanting to eat, that is hunger. Pibati is somebody drinks. Pipasa is the desiderative, wanting to drink, that is thirst. So anugraha is grace, anujigruksha is wanting to shower one's grace. God wanted to shower his grace upon or her grace upon gods, devebhya to gods, teshameva indriya gochare pradurbhavu. So the title slide picks a sentence from the Bhashya on the portions later on, says that this whole idea of God appearing in some magnificent, radiant, effulgent form is all about making these devatas realize their folly. We go to the second slide now, in which Brahma Devebhyo Vijigye, that first mantra, is taken up. Brahma in this vākya-bhāshya, just the publications sometimes give just one word, because in the first bhashya, that is pada bhashya, the whole mantras would have been published. It's a matter of publisher's choice to save space. Brahma, dot. Brahma, devebhyo vijigya, and all that is covered. Brahma, Ishvara, is to indicate aitihya artha. Brahma, especially the word comes, it is aitihya. Aitihya means it's a historical matter. Long ago, this really happened. Therefore, history in Sanskrit and many Indian languages is called itihasa. Iti ha asa. This is how it was. This is how it happened, and so on. Shankaracharya writes, Pura kila deva asura sanghrami. When there was a war between Deva and Asuras, Sura and Asuras. Jagat sthiti paripipala ishaya. God saw it from above, and he knew that if the power goes to Asuras, lot of things which had been set up in a good way would all get disturbed. Jagat sthiti. In order to ensure that the universe, the creation, goes according to certain healthy norms. Jagat sthiti paripipalashaya. Here also, palana is protecting and pipalaisha is wanting to protect. One more sannanta. Paripalana becomes paripipalaisha. Paripipalaishaya atma anushasana anuvartibhyo devebhyaha. The only way for God to do it is to see that those individuals, referring to devas, who are going to protect the dharma, they don't do adharma. They won the war also thanks to their dharma, but they got a little too arrogant. Atma anushasana anuvartibhyaha devebhyaha. To those gods who follow Atma anushasana, the rules made by God, arthibhyaha, and they wanted victory in this, vijigye. Ajay Sheet, one more synonym. God won actually. It was God's victory. But the Asuras took it as entirely their all credit they took. They could take a little credit. Nobody says no. But they took all the credit. It is said that earlier in the war between English translation is given. Shankara continues, Brahmanaha Ichhanimittaha Vijayaha. By the mere wish, Ichha, wish of Ishvara, this Vijaya happened in favor of gods. Vijayo Devanam Babuvaha Ityartha. Tasyaha Brahmano Vijaye Deva Amahiyanta. This blue are in from the not all the blue, but Kasyaha Brahmano Vijaye Deva Amahiyanta is from the Upanishad mantras themselves. So I hope most of you are holding the original Upanishad in your hand and then taking a look at the slides, of which copies were sent to you also. So, Tasyaha Brahmano Vijaye Devaha Mahiyanta. They gained great glory. And Shankara comments on that. Yajnadi lokastiti apaharishu asureshu parajiteshu. When the asuras were defeated, and were they also not protectors of Yajna Yaga and social order? No, apaharishu. They are the ones who would ruin everything, who would damage everything. They would one by one stop all proper practices. Lokastiti apaharinaha asura. Teshu parajiteshu. When they were lost, they got defeated. They are vriddhim pujamba praptavanta. So amahiyanta is explained by Bhashyakara as they vriddhim praptavanta. They rose in their glory. Next slide. We see then Upanishad mantra again. Te aikshanta. They thought asmakameva vijayam, etc. Te aikshanta, that much is Mula mantra. That's where you should hold a book of Mula mantra and see which one is from the mantra, which one is Shankaracharya's explanation. Te aikshanta, te achintayan, they thought, iti mithya pratyayatva dheyatva kyapanartha amnaya. Amnaya. The mantra here is to kyapana, to show to let us know that the thought that the Devatas had was mithya pratyaya. It was foolishness. And therefore it's heyatva. It has to be dropped. I should help them to drop this false pride. And Shankara further elaborates, Ishvara nimitte vijaye, when the real cause for their victory was Ishvara's grace, swasamarthya nimittaha. Oh, we won purely out of our own capacity. Asmakameva ayam vijayaha, asmakameva ayam mahima, all glory is ours. Iti atmanaha jayadi shreyo nimittam. Sarvat, so what was wrong on their side then? What error did they commit? Sarvatmanam atmastam sarva kalyana aspadam ishvarameva atmatvena abudva. Not knowing that there is the Supreme God in our hearts, He is the self of all of us, and He has a certain intelligence that empowered us, and therefore we won. And what is more, pindamatra abhimanaha. They thought the glory was limited to their pinda. Pinda means the small body. We as tiny bodies are not great, but we as pure awareness, where we have oneness with God, God is functioning through us to begin with as pure awareness, there we are great. But as the body, if we think that we are special, we are great, this body is great, you are mistaken. Pinda matra abhimana santaha yam mithya pratyayam chakruhu chakara chakratuhu chakruhu. They got into, chakara means did. They committed a big error, mithya pratyaya. Tasya pinda matra vishayatvena, because of their overly excessive obsession with this little personality. Pinda is the little personality. Pindamatra vishayatvena mithya pratyayatvat sarvatmeshvara yatatmya avabodhena. They need to be awakened to appreciate the all-pervasive God who is in them also. We don't deny. That avabodha should take place. That understanding should take place. Therefore, that nitya pratyaya has to be hatavya. It has to be dropped. Hatavyata khyapanartha tadda esham iti. That is back to the mantra. Tadda esham vijajnau. God from above saw. Oh, I'm glad they won, but that victory got into their heads. Ityadi akhyayika amnaya. This whole mantra, amnaya, is for narrating this story. In the last slide for this session, though we are going to say more about other parts of the Bhashya, in the fourth slide we say, Tad Brahma Kilam Kila Esham Devanam Viprayam Mithya Hankara Rupam Vijajnav Vijnatava. Tad, Ha and Vijajnav. These three words are from the Mula Mantra. But Tad means Brahma, God, Ishvara. Kila Esham Devana Viprayam Nitya Hankar Rupam. All this is for Shānkarabhāshya. Vijajnav is Mula Mantra. Its meaning is given Vijnatavat. Why not Vijnatavan? Ishvara is Ishvaraha Vijnatavan. But the word here used is Brahma. This is neuter. So because Brahma, standing for Ishvara, no doubt, grammatically is neuter, you have to say Vijnatavat. If it is a Devi, you will say Vijnatavati. If it is a masculine word, Ishvaraha, Bhagavan, Devaha, Paramatma, all these are masculine words. Then the word would have been Vijnatavan. Brahma Vijnatavat, Ishvaraha Vijnatavan. He realized. And next line in Shānkarabhāshya is the portion from where we took the words for the title slide. Natva cha vidyabhimana shatanena. Shatana literally means cutting. Cut something. Cut into pieces. Cut it to size. Abhimana shatanena tadanujigrikshaya. He did not have any negative feelings about God. So he was full of wanting to shower his grace upon them. It is to help them because pride is no good. Pride makes us go away from the right path. Anujigrakshaya, anugraham kartum ichchaya, devebhyah arthaya, for their purpose, artibhyah, they were the ones desirous of victory, teshameva indriya gochare, within line of sight. Indriyas could see such a form arose. No ati dure, not far from there, just at a little distance, there was a huge figure emanating light, and the face of that figure was radiant, of so content, so cheerful. Pradurbabu, that appeared. Pradurbhava is coming into Pradurbhava, Avirbhava are the words to say manifest. So, how can Brahma, Supreme God, take this form or that form? In Sanatana Dharma, such form where the face is of elephant, another form is where the body is of a monkey. How can that be? Why not? The Supreme God with all powers can take any form. The last line in the slides that we are presenting says, Maheshwara Shakti Maya Upattena Atyanta Adbhutena. The Supreme Ishvara, the ruler, has Shakti. And in that Shakti, there is this Maya, ability to generate anything. Upattena, drawn from that, Atyanta Adbhutena, from something most wondrous, Pradurbhutam, killer. And Shankara doesn't describe what form that Yaksham was. He just says, Rupa Visheshena, some special form he took. So it's left to the imagination of artists and narrators and pravachankas, anybody. They have the liberty to give some description. But Upanishad proper and Shānkarabhāshya do not say, was it a male form, was it a female form, or did it have 4 hands or 2 hands? Did it have 1 head or 10 heads or 3 heads or Kenachid Rupa Visheshena? Suppose somebody shows you a tree and says, what tree is this? And you don't know what tree. You just say, Kaschid Vraksha Vishesha. Some tree this is. Kaschid Vraksha Vishesha. Yesterday in a village in Karnataka, some strange animal was sighted. Part of it looked like an elephant, some part of it looks like some boar or varaha, some part looks like some other animal. Some video is going around. I don't know whether it is generated by this artificial intelligence. Sometimes all these are possible. Artificial intelligence generates a new form, or it could be from some science fiction movie. But the report said, what village was that? Some village was mentioned. Villagers were shocked to see a form they had never seen or heard about that kind of animal. So you say, Kaschid Prani Vishesha, some special kind of animal. So Yaksham Pradurbhavu. So with this, we put aside the slides, but I will go for some of these uh, further paragraphs. There is not much to say, therefore I am saying we will more or less complete this portion, the third khanda, so that when after 2 Fridays of suspension of this class, because next Friday a bunch of us are going to be in Varanasi, the following Friday uh, we will be heading towards Ayodhya, some of us, many others will come back to their places, but either way I will not be free. So February 16 and February 23, there will be no class. March 1st will be the next class. Then we will take the fourth khanda. The Kena-Upanishad has a fourth khanda. In fact, the story ends with a couple of lines in the fourth khanda too. But we will complete the third khanda. So we went up to Vriddhim Pujam Praptavantaha, paragraph 146. Then paragraph 147 in my book goes up to Taddaisham Ityadi Akhyai Kamnaya. Correct. Up to there, the slide showed. Now 148, 49, 50, 51. Four short paragraphs. So in the Upanishad, it is said, Tad Daisham Vidna Vijadnav. That also we saw. Anujigrakshaya, that we saw. Kena Chidrupena. One more sentence in that paragraph. Tatkila upalabhamana api devaha na vyajanata na vijnanavanta. Though that radiant form was unbelievably great and impressive, it didn't occur to them, these devas, and that there is a certain power above us and that has come here in front of us to teach us a lesson. Na vyajanata, na vijnatavanta. Kimidam yakshamiti. That's from the Mula Mantra, as it is said. Tanna vyajanata kimidam yakshamiti. And then the Mula Mantras go on to say, in the vākya-bhāshya in my publication in my hands, what I mean is, some 3 to 10, 8 mantras are just put in one line. Te agni mabruvan tateti tadabhyadravat ahamasmiti, etc. Just a few words in your original text. If it's in your hand, I am holding one. We see that embarrassed, puzzled, shocked, astonished, say whatever you want, taken aback, unable to understand what's going on now. We are in a celebrating mood, and here comes something which is putting us to utter confusion. They said to Agni. Agni, fire, is one of the very high gods. They said to Agni, let me read the Mula Mantra. Hey Agni Mabruvan Jatavedaha. The meaning of Jataveda, etc., is given in the Pada-bhāshya. We are studying vākya-bhāshya. Pada-bhāshya has many meanings, extra sentences. Really speaking, those who have studied Pada-bhāshya should then get into vākya-bhāshya. Many of us would have studied or heard lectures on Pada-bhāshya, but we are now here in vākya-bhāshya, second one. So Agni was requested, go find out who this yaksha. Etad vijanihi, kim etad yakshamiti. And then the mantra says, Tad abhyadhavat. Agni went towards that yaksha with all speed. And that yaksha, that puzzling figure, asked Agni, who are you? That question itself disturbed Agni. He doesn't know me. I am such a famous man. Who are you? Go see. Then Agni says, Aham Agnihi. Aham Jatavedaha. The Bhashya says, Jataveda means anything that happens in the whole universe, Jatam Jatam Veda. This Agni comes to know. Jatam means whatever happens, whatever comes into being. Event or a living being, a child is born, or there was some earthquake somewhere. Agni knows instantly. Jatam Jatam Veda. Sarvam Veda iti Jata Veda. Like Yaksha asks a question. Oh, they call you Agni. What capacity do you have? Tasmin Tvai Kim Viryamiti. Agni says, what question is he asking? He doesn't know. He says, Sarvam apidam daheyam yadidam prathivya. Whatever is on the earth, I can burn it, turn to ash in a moment. Yaksha places before Agni a dry blade of grass. A dry blade of grass, just a blade of grass. Trinam nidadau etaddaha. Burn it if you can. And tadupapreyaya sarvajavena. Fire god Agni Deva rushed towards that blade of grass with all speed. Sarvajavena tat na shashaka daddu. He couldn't do anything, even to that little blade of grass. He was flustered. He felt so humiliated. He just ran away from them without even thinking of, let me apologize and say to this Yaksha, I'm so sorry I did not know your greatness. But can you please tell me who you are? He could have done that. But when you and I get hurt, our ego gets punctured, we lose our thinking. We just go away from some place. Later it occurs to us, I should not have rushed away. I could have actually taken some initiative. Anyway, Agni ran away. It is said in the original mantra, Tataha eva nivavrute. He withdrew and told the devas who were at a distance, Na etad ashakam vidnatum yadetad yakshamiti. Then they said to Vayu, Vayo, oh wind god, you are so powerful. Go and find out who this Yaksha is. Vayumabruvan Vayo etad vijani kim etad yakshamiti katheti. Vayu also was very confident when he left. Tadabhyadravat, he ran towards Yaksha. Tam abhyavadat abhivadanam abhivadanam kritavan sa devaha, that Yaksham. Kosi, kahasi, who are you? And he said, I am Vayu. And Matarishwa. I have 2 or 3 names or many names. The Yaksha says, that's okay. But what is the capacity? What power do you have? Sarvam adadiya. I can suck anything from somewhere, or I can blow away anything. So, Shankaracharya in the Bhashya uses 2 words. Dahana, Adana. Dahana was what Agni claimed to have. Adana. Something is at a distance. Vayu can create a pressure difference so that that object at a distance gets sucked to his vicinity. And as I said, he can chase something away, blow it so that it goes and falls 1,000 miles away. Adadiya, I can pull anything towards myself. I can take something towards myself in my hands. Tasmai trinam nidadav. Yaksha had the same test. Okay, lift this blade of grass. Suck this blade of grass with your power. Etad adatsva. Tadupapreyaya sarvajavena tanna shashaka adatum saha tataeva nivabrute. Same story. History repeats. Same error. Why you could have, being a deva, being one of the Shrestha devas, very eminent deva, he too did not have all that balance. You and I also realize we may be well known, we may be popular, we may be famous, we may be rich in some people's eyes, but in certain testing situations, we behave in ways where it doesn't befit us, doesn't become us. Some school boy would have behaved better. A high school girl would have behaved better. But we, occupying some respectable positions in the society, just get into a jitter. So, we are like those devas. We are seemingly well placed, but inwardly, none of us, or hardly any of us, has real courage, real transparency, real openness, pure mind. Alas, rare to find. And then Indra, they request Indra, Ata Indram Abruvan, they said. Magavan, Magavan is another name of Indra. Magavan, please come to our rescue, go find out. Indra goes. And Indra, we would imagine, again something he would say, and Yaksha would place that blade of grass, etc., etc. Nothing. When Indra went there, that Yaksha just vanished. This was like a slap on the face of Indra. That Shankaracharya explains. We'll go into that. The other two at least got a chance to talk to Yaksha. Indra did not even get the opportunity. No interview granted to him. And then that Yaksha Tirodade. The Avirbhava or Pradurbhava is appearing. Tirobhava is disappearing. Avirbhava, Tirobhava. Pradurbhava and Tirobhava. They are antonyms. Tirodade. And then Sratasminne Vakashe Striyamajagama. One difference here is Indra did not run away. Indra felt hurt, felt humiliated, but he had greater purity of mind. If you and I have a higher purity of mind, such purity of mind will come to us if we are regular in study on one hand, japa, meditation, etc. on the other. And dharma nishta, more and more testing situations, trying situations, more and more of tempting or provoking situations. If we hold our ground and do what is right and not do what is wrong, then that inner strength comes. That inner ability. We would have run away otherwise, but we are about to run away, but part of our mind says, wait a minute, why not stay and inquire? So Indra stayed. That itself proves that he had a purer mind. Those two guys also had a pure mind, but Indra has even purer mind. And that's when he came across or he confronts, he comes face to face with a beautiful female form. In Padabhashya, Shankaracharya says it is Uma Haimavati, Parvati, Shiva's wife. But in vākya-bhāshya, which we are studying, Shankaracharya says someone who was like Parvati. Haimavati, Uma, Iva. Then precisely what was, see, whether it was Parvati or otherwise, definitely what appeared there in a female form, again radiant, effulgent and divine, it certainly represented Vidya. Vidya it was. Whether Parvati or Saraswati, Lakshmi or some other, there are so many goddesses, doesn't matter. Certainly Vidya. And Parvati also is a symbol of Vidya. Saraswati is a symbol of Vidya. So Shankara downplays in this vākya-bhāshya that interpretation that it was Uma Haimavati, Himavan's daughter. Himavan, his daughter is Haimavati. Parvati is Himavan's daughter, right? Yes. Bahushobhamana. Shankara makes a comment. It is Vidya because Vidya is Shobhamana. He in fact makes an interesting comment. Suppose some man is not all that good looking. People may ignore him first. But after a while, suppose they see him so bright, so brilliant, so intelligent, knows so much and makes right decisions, all his physical looks will be ignored. When they come, everybody will get up. And also they'll say, oh, I wish I was like him. Shankaracharya says, someone who is not good looking also looks wonderful when he or she has Vidya. Therefore, essentially, this form that came up there was Vidya. And Bahushobham. And Indra asks that female divine form, who was this Yaksha who was here till a few moments ago, but vanished, and then you have come here. I bow down before you, but ask you who this Yaksha was. And the fourth Khanda has the answer. Sa Brahma iti hovacha. But we will not go into the fourth Khanda in this class. We will see the few comments made. 149, 50 and 51. Three short paragraphs Shankaracharya says, Tad Vijnanaya Agni Mabruvan. The Devatas requested God fire. And then the story has Trina Nidhana. Nidhana in Sanskrit means placing. Kannadigas use the word Nidhana in the meaning of slowly. Nidhana Banni, come slowly. But that is not the same. It's not a Sanskrit meaning. In Sanskrit, the word Nidhana doesn't mean slowly at all. A Kannadiga, suppose, wants to say in Sanskrit, he can't say Nidanam Agaccha. He should say Shanai Shanaihi Agaccha. So non-Kannadigas also here, please learn this word. For slowly, the Sanskrit word is Shanaihi. Then what is Nidhanam? Nidhanam is place. To place something. I take a flower and place on the table. And God is called Karuna Nidhanam. God is the receptacle, repository of compassion. An ocean is called Ratna Nidhanam. Precious stones are in the ocean at its bottom. Nidhana means keeping. Past passive participle, many of you know. Nihita. Nihitam guhaya. The truth that is placed in our own heart. Okay. So Trinanidhane, why did Yaksha place a blade of grass? Ayam abhipraya. Atyanta sambhavitayoho agni marutayoho. God of fire and God of wind. Atyanta sambhavita. They were always honored and felicitated everywhere. They had much pride. Trina dahana adana shaktya. Fire could not do dahana, burning of the blade of grass, and wind could not suck it. Adana. He could not. Dahana adana shaktya atma sambhavana shatita bhave. That gets cut, that gets trimmed, that gets reduced. Therefore, Yaksha did that. Then what about Indra? Interestingly, in the vākya-bhāshya, Shānkarabhāshya says Indra doesn't have to mean the king of heaven, which is the well-known meaning for Kena-Upanishad mantra. But in his vākya-bhāshya says it could be Aditya. Aditya is one of the very resplendent, bright gods. Aditya. So there are several Adityas and one Aditya among them also. Aditya is one god form. Like we talked of Agni, Vayu, Indra, Tvashta. And we have the mantra Shanno Mitraha, Sham Varunaha, Shanno Bhavatu Aryama. So Mitra, Varuna, Aryama, there are so many. They are all more mentioned in Veda Purva. You and I are more into Vedanta. We don't know many devas, God forms. If you and I are into Karma Kanda, if you and I are into some Upasanas, we will know so many God forms. Adityo Vajrabhridva. Shankaracharya accepts it could be Indra, the king of gods, who holds a Vajrayuda. So Vajrabhrit, Avirodhat. Whether you take it as Aditya or you take as Vajrabhrit, there is no contradiction. This also fine, that's also fine. They are not opposed to each other. Some god among them that morning who was very, very pure-minded, who was extra eminent. Indra upasarpane brahma tirodhade. What is the meaning of this yaksha, Ishvara who had come in the form of yaksha? Tirodhade. Vanished. It is nothing but Indroham iti adhikatamo abhimanahasya. Whether it is Aditya or the king of gods Vajrabhrit, that god form had even more abhimana. But even though it had more abhimana, that form, it had greater purity of mind. Sometimes you and I, suppose we are operating on a plane of greater purity, we may have certain pride at a certain, but next moment we are able to come out it. That is also a sign of greatness. One of the interpreters says Shankaracharya in Kashi actually went by appearance and said to the Chandala, get away from my way. You are an untouchable or whatever. But when the Chandala spoke back, Chandala said, whom are you asking me to get away, the body or the consciousness? If you say body, your body, my body, all are made of 5 elements. We are the same. If you say consciousness, there is one consciousness only, you and I, everybody. Tom, Dick and Harry are consciousness. When the Chandala said that, instantly Shankaracharya realized, I have no business to discriminate on this ground. So what came out was 5 shlokas, Manisha Panchaka, where at the end of each shloka, Sa Gurur Mama, whoever has such wisdom, I no more would say get away, give way, get off this my sight, etc. Rather, I bow down before him and take him as my Guru. So, flexibility. So, Indra had adhikatamaha abhimanaha, soham agnyadibihi praptam. What would Indra react? How would he react? Shankaracharya gives description. Indra would have thought, Agnyadibihi praptam vak sambhashana matramapi na praptaha asmi. I did not even get the opportunity to talk to and hear from this yaksha. This is very, very humiliating. They at least got to talk. You go to meet somebody, from a distance they say you are coming, and they close the door. And you know that they have deliberately done it. Yaksha had deliberately done it. He didn't have some other appointment. He said to Indra, I won't even give to audience. So, iti abhimanam katam nu nama jatyat. So, Indra was given a bad, hard test. He was shaken to the roots. But still, look at his purity of mind. He was shaken, and yet, in a moment, he gathered himself, took a deep breath. Ah, whatever it is, I am humiliated, but let me remember why I came. I didn't come here to run away. Anugraha eva antarhitam. So, God's plan worked. And yeah, in the last paragraph of this khanda, Shankaracharya writes, Saha Indraha Adityova Vajrabhrudva, 2 meanings. Shanta Abhimana, Bahurihi Samasi. He was somebody now. Within 2 seconds, his Abhimana, his pride subsided. In life, it is all about detecting some negative emotions in us and making them subside. And detecting certain lovely, divine emotions in us and encouraging. I was in Bangalore when was some 2 weeks ago. A lady came to meet me, and she said she wanted my advice. I am doing 4 mantras. Shall I tell you what mantras they are? I said, don't tell me what mantras. Your guru has given you the 4 mantras, but tell me what they are about. Why are you doing 4 mantras? And are they Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Narayana? She said, no, none of those. This is some 2 mantras for some 2 planets and 2 other mantras for some other 2 planets. Graha. Then why don't you say 4 mantras for 4 planets? No, no, Swamiji. That Guru said to me, she said, the 2 mantras are for, what did she say? Let me try to remember. Buddha and Shukra, 2 grahas. And they are in one category. And my Guru said, you repeat this mantra, some special mantra was. I didn't ask her what the mantra is. But the 2 mantras make Buddha and Guru happy, and the effect will be Buddha and Guru who are sources of blessings. They bless this lady more. Then I said, then what are the other 2? Oh, they are for Shani and Rahu, she said. Yeah, so they also bless you. Yeah, they also bless, but in a different way, she said. What? These are also pleased, those are also pleased. And when they are pleased, they must be blessing you in the same way. No, Swamiji, I thought you know all this Tantra. I said, I don't know Tantra, Jyotisha, etc. But anyway, very interesting. Tell me, what did your Guru say about the other 2 mantras? She said, yes, they are with other two mantras. I make Shani and Rahu happy, but the purpose is a bit different. Shani and Rahu should become pleased with me and move away from me. Whereas Buddha and Shukra should come near me and strengthen me. Because Shani and Rahu are, you know, the causes of a lot of troubles. Shani Dasha, we say, Rahu Dasha. So if they are pleased, they smile and keep away from. And this Buddha and Shukra are pleased, they become pleased and come near me and empower me. Interesting. I said, today I learned something. Then she said, oh, then I told her, I am a Vedanti. I don't know all these Jyotisha-based sadhanas. So here we have Shanta Abhimana. Indra had the ability to reduce his Abhimana. And I'm sure, being a very pure-hearted Deva, some other time, suppose it was love for humanity or certain special consideration for a dharmatma, a pious person being tortured by somebody. Suppose Indra were to, hey, this is not fair, I should help him. Then he had the ability to strengthen that desire to help and weaken negative emotions whenever they arose in him. Look, the story has so much to teach us. Do you and I have the ability to, within a couple of seconds, weaken negative energies and strengthen positive energies when they rise in us? Prashanta Bhimanaha Indraha Indraha Atyartam Brahma Vijidnasu. Above all, he was so eager to know this Yaksha. And Yasmin Akashe Brahmanaha Pradurbhava Asit Tirodhanancha. At that very spot where Brahma, that Yaksha, Avirbhava, that is Pradurbhava, came up, and Tirodhana. Tirodhana, Tirobhava means vanished. At that very spot, Tasmin eva striyam adagama, he encountered a Atirupini Vidya. So Shankara doesn't say Parvati or. So he mentioned Rudrapatni in the next sentence. Those of you who have a Bhashya also in your hand may see, otherwise don't worry for listening. Avipraya Udbodha Hetutvat Rudrapatni Uma Hermavati Iva. By putting an Iva, he says, we don't have to take it as Parvati. Like Mother Parvati, who blesses her devotees with terrific insights, extraordinary understanding, this female form was also essentially Vidya. So she may not be a Parvati herself, but like Parvati. That's a big difference. So someone who wrote the footnote, you know, the scholar who wrote a footnote says, in Padabhashya, the meaning given is Uma, whereas here, like Uma. So that difference is pointed out by the Tippanakar. So last sentence of the whole commentary on the third khanda is Virupopi Vidyavan Bahushobhate. If any of us are not good looking, we should not worry much about it. We should have greater intelligence. Human life is made glorious by Viveka, Vairagya, by Jnana, by Shama, Dama, by Sanyama, by Satya, Ahimsa, Brahmacharya. Even if one of them is very much in us, we need not care about being good looking. Virupahapi. Maybe our nose is a little twisted. Maybe our eyes are squinted. Maybe many people looking at us keep away. That is their problem. If they have the patience, come near me, they will know my value. I am not after popularity. I don't care about men and women running to me for looks. In a way, it's a blessing that I am not good looking. In this way, an intelligent person thinks. Intelligent person dresses well, doesn't go about having foul-smelling clothes, etc. That is not right. The intelligent person may even regularly get his hair cut or clothes ironed and such things. See, that is nothing, but that is of a certain culture, that's all. He doesn't have to do it, but if he does it, there's no. You are not to judge that person as lacking in vairagya. If you don't want to iron your clothes, if you don't want to cut your hair, if you don't want to crop your hair, okay, fine, that is your choice. But some people may, because of certain way they have been brought up, but attachment to looking good, I crop my hair so that more and more people say he's so handsome. Seeking that attention, that praise for looks, etc., is spiritually speaking a weakness. Virupopi vidyavan bahushobhati. What a beautiful sentence in the Shānkarabhāshya. If you have vidya, shobhase, you will shine. You will be a magnet, a bigger magnet than the so-called Mr. World and Mr. Universe and Mr. India or Mr. Bangalore, Mr. Delhi. And they have so many other problems. One who has Vidya, Vidya is not just bookish knowledge, certain intelligence. Bahushobhate, he shines much more. She shines much more. A lady who is not all that good looking, but suppose has wisdom, then that is 100 times, if not more, desirable. With this, the Bhashya completes. And when we begin again on 1st March, we will see what Parvati, according to vākya-bhāshya, sorry, according to Pada-bhāshya, what this Vidya Devi, who is like Parvati, according to vākya-bhāshya, says. I already read it. That was God. That was Supreme God Himself, she answers. Then there are some secondary teachings. Though they are secondary, for some of us, they might be more useful than the primary teachings because we are not able to rise up to the primary teachings. The pure teachings in the first two khandas, not our cup of tea, what to do. And the so-called secondary teachings might be just what we needed. We get energized and then we can climb to the higher stage. That's how the Shastras work. Om Namah Paramarashibhyo, Namah Paramarashibhya.